All right, welcome aboard, everybody. My name is Doobyis. This is called Fly in Formation. It's a spin-off series from my weekly mix show. My mix show is called After the Smoke is Clear, or At Sick Radio. Over there, I play independent Canadian hip-hop every week, always new releases, never playing anything twice. And just to learn more about all the scenes across the country and the artists who make them, I started doing these interviews on a weekly basis a few years back, so Fly in Formation was born. Currently, we're on episode 130, and joining me today is the first of two guests who are from Montreal in 2 weeks, this weekend, next week. Today, I'm talking with somebody whose music I've been playing, since I started After the Smoke is Clear, Maky Lavender. Welcome to the show.
What's up, man?
And apologies, I had to re-record this vocal clip here, so things are going to be a little bit off, but it is what it is. I hope that I can make this work in post. I wanted to start things off just kind of asking you about, for people who aren't familiar with you, can you kind of talk about what your music sounds like and how long you've been doing this?
Shit, I've been making music for a long time now. Like, I'm 30, and I think I started actually making music when I was 14 or 13. So then it's like 16 years strong right now. Actually, I saw a post on Facebook from the first song I did with some friends that I put out, and it was definitely 16 when I was 16. But I started making random beats on FL Studio with a friend of mine when I was even younger than that.
Nice.
But I didn't really know it was a real thing. Like FL Studio wasn't considered a real music thing until years later. When you were just doing it before, it felt like you were just like doing, I don't know.
I
Just messing
remember
around.
that shit where it was considered to be like the substandard version, like the, at home in your basement version of making music or whatever.
Yeah, it was definitely like we considered like FL was a video game almost. It's like like it was barely a DAW.
Yeah, weird. So I think your first drop was like what, 2010, something like that?
Yeah, could could be, yeah. If it's
I don't know.
16
That's
years
what the
ago.
internet told me, anyways. I didn't actually look at the
Found that on the
Spotify all the
internet?
way back, but
Did,
yeah.
did you find Titleist?
The internet knows about you, man. Yeah, it told me a few things. Yeah, it told me a few
That's
things that, I
okay.
mean, beyond what I already knew from paying attention for the last few years. I have been playing your music on AtSick for, six years at this point. So,
Peace.
been around for a while now. But yeah, this new one, man. Do you want to tell people about your most recent album, or see?
Yeah, Merci is like an, bro, it's actually the album I wanted to make since I was probably 15. Like this is my version of like of Best Day Ever by Mac Miller. This is my version of like Burn After Rolling. It's like or even like shit, just all the mixtape era. Like this is this is my version of like Come Up Story or no, the Come Up by like J. Cole. Like this is when I was really young, like watching movies with the sound off. This is like the type of stuff I always wanted to do. Like an album where like the verses were clear. I would go in and like have like an emotional aspect to what I'm talking about and have like features from like just some of the most incredible singers that I knew who were just great writers on some beats that were like sort of indie, like indie rock, but not indie rock, indie pop, R&B, rap. Like that's all I always wanted to make an album like that, and something that was like dear to my heart too. So then, yeah, this
So
is
is it
this
different
album.
stylistically? Like this is what you were aiming for stylistically all these years, or does it kind of just feel like the quality of it got to where you finally wanted it to be?
I think I've been wanting to do that, but as artists, you never are able to do what you actually want to do. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is what I'm inspired by. I want to do this. And then you end up making something that's completely left field, has nothing to do with what you were trying to like, what your initial idea was. It's something I definitely from my earlier era years of like just going on hot new hip hop and finding music. If I would have found this mixtape, I would have tripped. Like the Waters, Mick Jenkins. This is kind of like this is my like 1999 Joey Badass.
Nice, man. Yeah. So finally, you get to hear yourself making the music you've always wished was in the world, then, eh?
Finally, I'm
Yeah,
happy about it. Yeah.
dope, man. What's the reception been like for it?
It's been super cool, honestly. Like it's one of those albums where I feel like the the nerds, the music nerds, the music geeks, they know of it and they tell like maybe their friend. They're like, yo, I found this new guy, but they don't tell more. Like it's not like they go online and tell everybody. I
Right.
feel like a lot of people's like secret artists that they want to tell people like later on when like things like develop for me, like I wouldn't like people will be like, yo, I've been listening to him since like, yo, you don't even know this mixtape. Like I feel like I have this kind of like not, I would say fan base or supporters. The supporters who don't tell anybody. I'm like a best kept secret for them. Like I,
Yeah.
I'm like a reason why they get to call themselves like music geek because they know about some shit nobody knows. You
Dude,
know?
yeah, I'm definitely one of those. I love, finding the new artists and sharing it to as many people as I can. Um, I think some of that culture kind of died with like the blog era and like the forums kind of dying off or whatever, like I guess you could go post somebody else's music on your social media, but like nobody really does. So it's tough like for people to really spread the word beyond just kind of their immediate friend circle. And that's one of the things that I think contributes to just how segregated and kind of separated the Canadian hip hop scene is, right? Like, there's people who support the Edmonton scene and people who support the Toronto scene and people who support the Vancouver or Montreal scene, but they don't often overlap, right? It's pretty separate. Do you feel that same way about the Canadian scene?
Oh, for sure. Is
Yeah.
that there's too much distance.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
like already from Edmonton to Calgary, you guys have like the equivalent of probably like Montreal to Quebec City. It's not a good
Yeah.
example because Quebec City is probably because the language keeps us together. Because like it's closer to go to Ottawa than it is to go to Quebec City, but we still are we feel like very separated from Ottawa just because it's in a different province.
Right.
While Quebec is like in the same one. I don't know. I feel like do you guys because are you in Lethbridge
Yeah,
or
I'm in Lethbridge. I'm in southern Alberta, but I was in Edmonton for probably 12 years before I moved down here. So definitely got roots up in the Edmonton scene. There's not a lot going on in Lethbridge, which was one of the reasons I started just reaching out to people online to, try to drive some community online a little bit here.
I hear you, man. Yo, it's tough. I think the distance does that, but I feel like is is like Manitoba like is Winnipeg closer for you or
No, so Lethbridge is 2 hours outside of Calgary, and then like another 3 hours north of there, you're in Edmonton. So, yeah, if
oh,
I'm
okay.
going to big shows or whatever, it'd be in Calgary typically. But then again, I do make the trip up to Edmonton a few times a year just to see people that I know up there and family and stuff. So, uh,
So,
you know,
so the like going east or west, what's
uh,
like how far is like I guess like BC.
Yeah, so BC, like we're pretty close to the mountains. You can be like out in a national park, I guess, Waterton National Park in like hour drive, something like that if you head west. So
Okay.
the thing is there's not a ton going on in like interior BC. So to get to like, Kelowna, it's still like an 8 hour drive or something like
Oh,
that. And kind of the same to the east, right? Like it's Saskatchewan and then Manitoba. So kind of flyover provinces if you want to put it that way, right? But like not to say that like Saskatoon, Winnipeg, there are scenes. I do play music from both those places, but yeah, it's a long haul to get east or west to anything from here really. So yeah,
yeah,
Alberta
no.
kind of has to stand on its own, it feels like.
I feel like that's the thing with like the Canadian scene. It's just the distance is so insane that like you can't really even connect with people unless you really go there. Like, there's no real reason, for example, for someone from like Calgary to be listening to a random artist that's from like I don't know, let's say somewhere far out
Well,
west.
from
No, out
Montreal or
east. Man.
someplace, right? Like
No, even
yeah.
further because Montreal we could still like whatever because it's the big city. But I'd say like fuck a random city. Let's say Saint-Jean-Port-Joli. Saint-Jean-Port-Joli is like a random farm town, like 4 hours away from Montreal going east.
Hold up. This
Nobody's
is a
gonna like,
third place named St. Paul. I talked to a guy from oh no, St. Paul. I'm thinking St. John. Never mind, never mind. Talked to a
oh,
guy from
St.
St.
John, yeah,
John last week, but okay, you're talking St. Paul.
Labrador.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Um,
because Quebec is so big, you're like, yo, it's ridiculous. Like, there's so many random towns I swear you never heard of, like Charlevoix. Like, I was doing a show in Bay Saint Paul, which is like 4.5 hours away from Montreal, going
okay.
east. even you go further to Gaspésie, like there's no reason, for example, for you to hear of these artists. There's too far.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, there's no reason unless you specifically set out just to support the national scene, like, which is something I strongly encourage. There's, American music is good and all, but like, I think that the Canadian scene is strong enough. It could kind of build and support its own and stand a little bit more on its own without having everybody up here name their top 5 rappers as Americans. Like, there's,
sure.
there's some Canadians coast to coast who have been doing the damn thing for a long time and do it at a very high level. So like, I always encourage people to, look north for some good music and cut off some of that American shit being pushed on us by American billionaires like everything else is. But
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
it's a tough push, man. It's an uphill push to convince anybody of that, right? Dude, I wanted to ask, so this new album, Merci means thank you, obviously in French. Like, who are you thanking? Who's the thank you note addressed to?
It's oh man, I'm thinking like those. I think I'm thinking a past relationship, but not just that relationship. But I guess like that phase of my life.
Okay.
Where like I was just I guess such a hopeless romantic. So then I'm thinking this like idea of I've made of myself as a lover or whatever. Because I think I'd made up like a version of love in my head, and that's what like drove me. And then at the same time, I'm thinking all the stuff that didn't work out, and it's like also like it's like a way in Quebecers we do that all the time. It's like when you're done, let's say like you're talking to someone like on a job site or whatever,
Yeah.
and last thing before you dip, you say like okay merci. It's like all right, thank you, and you leave. So so
Okay.
it's
Man,
the same
Canadians
way.
are real polite even in French or English, right? Like we're known
Yeah,
for always apologizing and you guys are thanking each other. Just thanks for another day.
yeah, bro. All right, thanks, man. It just means like yeah, thanks.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Gratitude attitude. We need more of
Yeah,
that.
pretty much for sure.
um, can I ask you, I guess, like on that note of gratitude, like is there anything that comes to mind that you've been grateful for kind of in the musical journey or in the musical process that, you could express thankfulness toward?
Yeah. Yo, I'm so thankful for like I don't know, the people who support me, people like you, yo, who just they like it and they're like, oh wow, this deserves time of my day. This
Yeah.
is like it really warms my heart because I never know when it's coming. Because when I was younger, I probably expected that like I would have known, like I'd walk outside and everybody would be like, yo, I listen to your music. but
Yeah, right. People drive by in cars playing it and whatnot. Yeah.
yeah, I was thinking it was gonna be like that, but yo, I was at Home Depot and this dude was like, "Are you Maky Lavender?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." I was just buying like freaking latex and caulking or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And he was telling me that, and I was like, "Okay, you never really know who is gonna like your music,"
yeah.
and I
Damn.
really want to thank those people for real.
So with this project, like you said, that it kind of feels like a vision, being actualized for you. Was it a vision that you like? Did you go into making the album kind of with the final form in mind, or was it something that came together piece by piece and ended up being that?
Piece by piece,
Yeah.
it ended up being that. Like I remember I got this bottle of gin. I had like a bunch of snacks. Like the homie that had me, he asked me to like cat sit. I don't know. I didn't even know that was really a thing, but he asked me to cat sit while he was going like back home.
Somebody's
And
got
I
to
was like,
take care of them. Sure. Yeah.
yeah. Just feed him litter, like change litter type stuff. Then I brought like the whole equipment, the whole studio, and then for some reason I often record music like December 28th and like the end of the year. Usually like that's when I just go in,
Yeah.
and I made most of the album around that time.
I've always had this theory that like Canadians record albums in the winter and drop them through the summer. Does that check out that like maybe because it's colder through the winter, does that help your creativity? I feel
For
like people
sure.
isolate a little bit more, right, through the winter.
It does feel good though. It feels really good to like make music all day long, especially like like some sun in the winter, and then out of nowhere when you're done, you just like I don't know, nighttime, winter nighttime. You've been home all day. Just the only time you went out for like smoke breaks, and that's it. Like
Yeah.
feels great.
Yeah. Yeah. Hit the cave and record.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you produce for yourself, right? Like, was this entire album self-produced?
No, this album was some of the songs were made like on a at a writing camp.
Okay.
Some of them I found the beats on BeatStars from a guy who I found on TikTok at first, and another one was made in Vancouver.
Damn, okay. So,
Yeah,
beats from all over the place then. Am I wrong thinking you do also produce?
yeah, no, I produce as well, but
Oh,
this on
okay.
this album I didn't do it as much.
Okay. It sounds like a lot of live instrumentation on this. I was wondering, like, so I guess it sounds like you just bought these beats, but did you aim for kind of a live instrumentation sound while you were picking beats?
Um, no, I think it's from coming from an acoustic album that was actually guitar and drums only.
Right.
And I had also a full band album a couple years ago that was only live instrumentations. So I think that just became my sound by and where I was at like sonically at that time. But that's not I wasn't aiming for it at all. And I'm shook because yo, the first song like called Pull Up Late, if you'd have seen how fast that dude made this beat using loops. And I was like, wow, it's illegal, but yo, it sounds like someone is really playing guitar. Those beats, yo. I think,
It's
but
I thought it might have been you playing the guitar when I listened to that first intro track or whatever, the one you just mentioned, because yeah, it is just really like stripped down acoustic guitar sound. Um, that was samples. He didn't actually sit there and like, even when you just said he put it together real quick, I was picturing like a guy with a loop pedal or something like,
oh, not even, dog.
no? Okay, damn.
It was like I think like samples he got from like Loop Master or whatever. Like
Okay, yeah.
the very like simple loop website. There's a loop site that's like
Splice is one of them, but yeah, there's a few, yeah.
yeah, but something cheaper than like a free site.
Oh,
Like there's a free
something cheaper than
yeah,
Splice.
like
Okay,
but honestly, the guy that made most of the songs, like probably like Solo Together and Cold Bad and all these other tracks, he plays guitar though. Like
okay.
he's a producer that's actually from Japan, and I think he plays guitar on most of those songs. So he makes the loops, that he plays them, and then makes the beat.
Cool. So, can you talk about the writing camp then that kind of spurred some of this into action?
True, maybe she did play guitar. I don't remember. It was the song with Laha. It's called "Make You Think." She she plays guitar, so she might have played something. I think no, I think one of once again technology wins. I think the guy had this like plug-in that sounded like a guitar,
Okay.
and then that's how we did it. And like her voice is used all throughout the track, which was super cool. It was like a writing camp for this label called Bravo, that's like that's in Montreal, and the producer is actually from Guadeloupe, I think. Guadeloupe
Okay.
or Martinique. And yeah, he was like, yo, that guy is super good. He produces for a lot of like French artists, like from France. And yo, he made that very quickly, honestly.
Nice, man. Um, Intentions to perform this stuff with a live band? Like it all feels like you could have people, learn the parts and play it with you.
Yeah, I did one show. The first show I did after it came out was with a live band. And we played solo together. That was the first track of the show, and that was like something, bro. Because I like some of those tracks where like I'm like I know the drummer is gonna trip when he hears this. I know like what instrument is gonna like have a good time playing some of this stuff.
Yeah.
I know the guitarist is gonna trip every time. Like so, I have an idea usually what instrument and who in the band is gonna love playing it. So I want to play a lot more with a band for the next shows. It's just it's expensive. It's
Yeah.
just like yo, you got to drop like $500 or $600 before you even get on stage.
Well, and beyond just the expenses of having a band with you, like the traveling is that much tougher. Even just rehearsing and like making sure everybody's on point for the show. It's just more moving pieces or whatever compared to trying to work alone. Or you and a DJ or whatever. It's less to organize when it's more stripped down like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think certain sounds like yours work really well with that live band, and I think that kind of opens the door to some shows that otherwise you might not land if you were just a rapper and a DJ. Do you get that impression?
Oh, facts, 100%. The show I just did a show last weekend, and there's a big reason why I didn't like it's a competition, but it's a show.
Yeah.
Did you just call it I don't know why they call it competition. I'm not sure, but it's a competition show, whatever. And I
Eh,
didn't win for sure because I was the only guy without a band.
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
like because I get it though. It's also for the audience. The audience likes to see like an entire party on stage, so they don't feel like they're just alone watching a guy. They feel like they're part of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Until an artist hits like this superstar level of celebrity, it's tough to just stand on stage and keep everybody focused, keep everybody respecting it or whatever, for sure, man. Um, I guess like for the recording for your vocals on this, let's talk about that a little bit. Did you go into studio or do you home record, or what type of situation were you in for recording it?
Shit, I think the mic is right here. Hold up. I can show you the mic. I don't know where I put this mic. Oh, well, it's not here.
Oh shit,
But
missing mic.
yeah, but yeah, it's a. I've been using the same mic for years. Like I used for a lot of this album, I was just holding the mic. I was just sitting and holding it
Oh, okay.
in my hands. Like in the studio, I was for the one in the first track. I was in the studio, but then I went to 2 different studios because like first time I was in Vancouver. Um, well, it was a long year, man. Like, anyways, in 2022, I'd been around Canada like 3 times, which is just
I,
fucking nuts.
I was going to ask you about that. Didn't you spend some time in Edmonton or something? I feel like I remember seeing posts of you out in Edmonton a while back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, so the first in 2022, I left Montreal for Toronto. Then from Toronto, took the bus to Winnipeg. And from Winnipeg, I stayed like an extra day because there was a crazy snowstorm. Then I rented a car and I drove from Winnipeg all the way to Calgary.
Damn.
Also, I just need to say Medicine Hat is one of the weird, like it's scary. It's a scary place.
Yeah. Yeah.
I drove right through. I was like, no, no, no.
Medicine Hat is very close to Lethbridge and probably pretty similar culturally, I guess I would say. So yeah, no, I know the feels, man.
Okay,
Lethbridge is a strange place as well. It's like this is like Alberta's Bible Belt is how you hear this place referred to. Um, so I'm a bit of an odd man out down here, but I'm used to that. I've lived in Alberta my whole life and been like a progressive hip hop head. So yeah,
oh yeah, that's wild, yo. All power to you because damn, if you say Medicine Hat is similar to Lethbridge, yo, that's a woo.
similar size. I think Lethbridge is a little bit bigger, like maybe 20 or 30,000 bigger, something like that, but like not meaningfully. You know, it's pretty
it
much
was
the same deal.
it was such a long drive, yo, from Winnipeg all the way to like just Alberta, and then you get to
Yeah.
Alberta, and you're not in Calgary yet. Like from Medicine Hat, I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 hours all the way to Calgary.
Yeah, something like that probably. I love how you just like completely skip over the entire drive across a prairie that is Saskatchewan. Like
Yeah,
I've done the Winnipeg to Toronto drive before, and I can remember like looking at it on a map and being like, "Oh, it's not that far. This can't take that long." And it's like fucking 14 hours later. So it's a long time ago, but it took for fucking ever, it felt like, to get from Toronto to Winnipeg. Um and
yeah. The Toronto, first of all, the Ontario drive is nuts. Like I did it by bus, so it was a bit better.
yeah, at
But
least you get to
it was
relax.
yeah, it was in January. It was insane. Like
Uh,
snowstorms all throughout the road. I'm like, these bus drivers are crazy. And you have to switch because it's too long of a shift for a bus driver to drive the entire way. So they have to switch at a certain point. One guy's, "All right, bye, peace. Bye guys."
fuck
Someone else
yeah.
just grabs and takes a bus.
They're probably only allowed to drive for like 8 hours a day or whatever it is legally, maybe 10 or some shit. But yeah, that makes sense.
Understandable.
Um,
I finally got to Calgary at some point.
yeah,
Then I drove from Calgary to Kelowna. And then I drove from Kelowna to Vancouver. Now I stayed in Vancouver for like a month. And then I was like, okay, uh, I was downtown Vancouver and I'm almost scared because there's like it makes no sense how like you have some of the richest people and some of the poorest people in the
yeah,
same place.
yeah.
I was there for too long. It kind of scared me. I don't know. Maybe I was just smoking too much weed. I don't know. So now I
Well,
was
I'm
like,
sure
okay,
there's got to be scary places in Montreal too, right? Like,
oh for sure, but I'm used to it, yo.
oh, okay, okay.
So for sure, Montreal is like I was scared just because I was in Granville and Nelson. So like across the street from where I was living was like I'm not sure if it was a hostel or like a home for like a cheap home for homeless people. So then
Sure.
like a lot of weird stuff.
Like East
I was
Hastings area, right? That's what we're talking about in Vancouver? That's where like
Nah, not over there. I was
oh,
like
okay.
more Granville, so more downtown type of stuff.
Okay,
But it's
okay.
the same vibe anyways. Like
Yeah, when it is close, you can kind of walk from downtown Vancouver and then like look over and be like, "Oh, okay, now I'm surrounded by, you know, the people who are struggling out
yeah,
here
yeah,
for sure."
it's just fuck. So
Yeah.
then like I was like, you know what, let me go to Edmonton. That's really just my that was my just my thinking. Also, there's guns. I was trying to shoot. I was down to shoot. So like the West Edmonton Mall.
Okay, yeah, yeah, down to the shooting range or whatever they got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, you guys have a museum of war. I was like, whoa.
Sounds like
Like,
some Alberta shit. Yeah, I've never been to either of
yeah,
those places, but yeah, that checks out.
I swear, bro. I was so then I stayed in Edmonton for a little bit. And then like I think I from there I took the bus and then went all the way back to Montreal. But then when I got back to Montreal, I was accepted from like a bunch of festivals. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going back on the road. So then I went back on the road, went back to Toronto to train all the way to like to Calgary. Then from Calgary, I took a bus all the way to Vancouver, and I flew back. And then again, I went to go record at the studio that had been in Winnipeg. This is where I mixed all most of the album. I mixed Pull Up Late out there, and then I went back to Montreal. I had some shows, and then from Montreal, like I had again more shows in Vancouver. I was only able to book like stuff in Vancouver, Calgary. I wasn't really getting that much in Montreal, but then I had a bunch of shows in Vancouver. So I was like, all right, let's go back on the road for the third time. So then I flew back, and then when I flew back to Vancouver, at that time I had a grant too, like a creation and research grant. So I
Okay.
used it to tour and to record. So then when I went back, that's when I went to the studio with this guy called Culture Gal Bounce, and he was referred to me by a homie of Tion Gibbs. So a homie of Tion Gibbs. So then I went to both studios. So since I recorded some things in at the homie Culture Gal Bounce's studio, I went back home again. I don't know why. I've ended up going back home again after like I went to Europe in between there, but I went back home. And when I was back home, I was fucking depressed. Yo, I was like, I need to leave. I can't be out here. Everybody hate. Yo, I don't know what was going on around that time in my life, but people were just mad at me. And they're like, if you're not happy here, get the fuck out of here and leave. They'd rather me be gone than just be miserable. Than just fucking go.
Was it
So
backlash for all the traveling and touring and doing shows elsewhere that you kind of they were like, "Oh, you're too good to stay in Montreal," kind of thing?
yo, for real, man. I think some of the stuff that happens when you do this shit. Yo, people are like,
Yeah.
oh, look at you, Mr. Big Shot. What the fuck? Like, oh, we're good enough for your presence. This guy, aren't you on the road? Like, I made this little song about that I didn't put out yet, but it's definitely that. It's like people are just like, oh, you're so good. You have to be on the road all the time. Why? What do we? But you don't understand how it truly feels. You know, it's fucked up. You go on the road so long, you come back, everybody you know is older. Like a baby you knew once that was a baby is like 3 fucking foot tall now, and like
Yeah.
everything, and nobody cares. Like people get over you being gone like in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like oh, so
All that is so real for Canadian artists, like just with the distance between cities, like we were talking about. Like, I feel like there's so many artists who are just out here touring back and forth on like an almost constant basis, just trying to pay the bills, you know. And yeah, it's not the same as guys who get to like tour in America and do, you know, there's a million people here and then you drive 20 minutes and there's a million people there and you drive another 20 minutes, like bunch of big markets all lined up in one strip along either coast, really, in America. But up here it's like, yeah, a lot of these artists are really just road dogs, you know, out there month after month grinding it out. That's the
yeah,
story you're singing, man.
yeah,
um
yeah, and but it honestly at that time it was good because that's how some of the songs like was inspired for some of the people I met, some of the like some of the relationships that I've gotten in, but I wasn't really gonna last because it was just the high of the traveling, you know, the high of like this whole like life that seems for some people who don't live it and not like artists, they just think like you're just living your best life and just traveling and like they watch it and they're like mesmerized and they want to do that. And sometimes it inspires them. It's, as much as, you know, if we're gonna be like pragmatic and she's gonna try to shake them, be like, no, this is not what you think. But they're like, no, man, I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
And it's good to let them dream, It kind of like I was influenced by that too.
I mean, I think everybody has to have like some sort of pie in the sky dream or they wouldn't chase it in the first place because yeah, the reality is a lot of driving through snowstorms and like sleeping on people's couches and shit, where it's not necessarily that glamorous trying to, figure out if your per diem is going to stretch through 2 meals or 3 meals that day and shit like
Bro,
yeah.
bro, I was in Calgary sleeping on the homie couch. And it's crazy because he lived in one of those big ass like skyscrapers.
Yeah.
But he's a dude, bro. There's only the most minimal shit in his apartment. Uh, like a couch from Structube, so it's higher level than IKEA. But
Okay,
like
yeah.
there's nothing in the crib. There's no dinner table. So,
Sounds
but
about
he
right, man. Yeah.
Yo, for real. But he was letting me stay at his place while I was on tour. It was cool. This kind of stuff is, I don't know, man. It's cool stories, but damn, it's not the easiest life.
Yeah, no, it's not as glamorous as people, tend to think of when they're thinking about like, the life of a touring musician or whatever. It's a little bit different for the indie level guys up here doing it in Canada for sure. Um, Dude, I wanted to talk a little bit more about kind of your process for actually putting songs together. So, like, are you starting typically with, um, an idea for kind of a vibe and then look for a beat that matches that, or start with lyrics first, or I don't know. All different guys do it different ways, man. What's your kind of songwriting process come together like most of the time?
It depends on what I'm trying to do. Like I've been in some studios where like in Vancouver, there's a super cool studio called Northern House. And like they plug your laptop and they have all the fucking toys, the gears, like they have like synthesizers, different like stuff that you could just play with. And I made some beats using that, and that was just so fun. And when I have that stuff, like I'm just making beats, yo. I'm just chilling, making beats, just trying different sounds, just playing with stuff. If like recently I've been just going on BeatStars, honestly, like technology is insane, man. Like
Yeah.
there's so many sounds and beats, and like then you could just if you get the stems, you could do that too. So I'm always open to like trying different shit. Like, and if I'm working with a producer, sometimes they have stuff, sometimes they start stuff. Like, it doesn't really matter for me.
Yeah. Do you prefer like actually to be able to sit with a producer as they make the beat, as compared to just buying it on BeatStars? Because I'm definitely in the same boat as you, where it's like, for me, I dabbled in making beats a little bit around like 2010. I learned how to use an MPC 1000 and like tapped out a few beats that sucked and was like, okay, I'm kind of done with this. I think I'll just go back to buying beats from all these dudes who are already dope at making beats and do the lyric thing. Do you do you find yourself like wanting to actually have that input on what the beat sounds like?
If I'm working with the producer, sometimes I'll do it, but then I forget that I did. Like, I worked on some beats with a homie of mine, which like he's a close friend, and I did like a part of the synth. Like, I went on the keys and then part of the synth. Completely forgot I did that, He used it in the beat, but sometimes like when I'm working with producers who make a big part of the beat, I forget that I did it. Like recently I went to also get in the studio with a guy, and then he had like everything's connected. The studio is like a fucking spaceship, bro. So I was like, yo, is this on? He's like, yeah, I got you. Now I went on the keys and started playing. So I played like I've been playing with a lot of like producers recently and just going to stu and doing that. Like and let them like sequence the entire shit because I don't feel like it. It's cool
Yeah.
to like to teamwork on that is like my favorite thing. I do like it.
Okay, yeah. How about this, man? Should an artist stick to one sound or switch it up album to album? Did this feel like
Um,
a switch up? Like you said, it felt like kind of the pinnacle of what you've been building toward, but uh I mean, from what I know of your music, it feels like it's the same lane, kind of, right?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's the same lane. I
Okay.
think so, but um, I think you should change some style. It's from album to album, but just like it still got to make sense with like your world. I think like artists are just like a huge galaxy, and all these different albums are planets, and it's
Yeah.
still in the same galaxy. You know, it's still the same person that made it. It's just like you could change. But it's just like there's this guy Comethazine that now he makes full blown jazz. He plays trumpets. It's like that's crazy. I'm okay with it, but I'm just like it's gonna be tough for like if you were like a full blown SoundCloud rapper,
Yeah.
and now you're like a trumpetist. I don't know how you say that. You play
Trumpeter? I don't even know what they're called. Yeah.
a trumpet man,
Yeah. Dude who plays the trumpet. Yeah. But
right?
no, I hear you though. You're gonna lose a lot of those rap fans if they're used to hearing you rap, on SoundCloud beats and do mixtape stuff or whatever, and then suddenly now you're trying to push jazz on them. It's kind of like the Andre 3000 switch up or whatever. Like, now
Oh,
I'm
the
gonna
flute
play a
shit.
flute. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think it's the flute the problem. It's the quality of the music, bro. The
Sure.
shit don't. It does not slap. Like it's not
Yeah.
like it's not because he's playing the flute, bro. Because like my dream would be to like see Tyler the Creator play the keys for like probably 30 to 40 minutes. There's such insane videos of him playing the keys
Yeah.
online, but he
Yeah. I've
never
seen a
really does
couple.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he's just like trying to like surprise people with that, and he's starting to start playing keys, and like we're gonna be, oh my god, he played keys, but like for real, he's been playing for years, and I always wanted to like see more of that.
Yeah. Do you
So
play any instruments?
yeah, I started. That's one of the reasons I started playing the keys. I
Okay.
wanted to learn one of the Tyler Creator songs. I wanted to play analog too.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm on the keys and the drums a little bit.
So I wanted to ask you, man, with your style of music, like it's very emotional and introspective, but it's also like dance based, right? Like there's a lot of dance and like pop influence in there. It's everything is danceable. Um, do you feel like, or I guess I don't know, talk about kind of writing danceable music that goes a little bit deeper than like the typical dance music does, because
Right,
you
right.
definitely have some weight to your music.
Um, I don't often do it on purpose.
Hmm.
Like the track that I've been like just jumping and like moshing to the most is a track called "Le Game a Changé." When I was making it, they just sent me the beat, and that was around the time in my life I was just spending so much time in the studio. So you just send me stuff, I recorded it, and you did whatever you want with it. And then one day I played it at a show, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just turn up. Every time I play this song, I'm gonna just turn up, even if there's nobody, or even if there's like two people in the crowd. I'm just gonna look like a crazy person on stage. And I started doing that with that song. It was just a random idea that just came about. And like sometimes like I danced to like an acoustic track on my album where like it's just because of the lyrics. It's because of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the movie, the breakdancing movie called Breakin' from like 1980 or something.
Yeah, I think I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
It's like a super old movie about like graffitis and breakdancing, like some super corny New York movie from the earlier days of hip hop.
Okay.
And my uncle showed me that movie when I was a kid, and it changed my life. There's this kid called Turbo that's like sweeping outside of like a convenience store, and he starts to like just doing the robot and then doing a
Oh,
moonwalk.
yo, yeah, I know that sequence. Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm talking about this, and that's what I'm talking about in the song. I'm like, dancing with the broom like I'm turbo up in this bitch. And then and then I'm saying like slide to the left, slide to the right from the cha-cha slide. And then I'm just talking about like this idea of like being over everything, like having a bunch of pain as a human being, but then the music starts to play and you're just like you're just like SpongeBob when he touches the confusion ball, right? Everything just and that's
You
that's
got
what
so many references, man. That's dope.
I swear.
Uh,
But I'm happy. Do you get those references? Am I
y-
making sense?
yeah, no, that checks out. I hear you. Yeah.
Sick, sick. You watch SpongeBob as well growing up?
I mean, I have. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Sick. All right. So you get it. So the confusion ball, right? Where you just and nothing, everything is blurred around him.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to talk about that, but about the music. Like this guy who's just like this, like almost numb to the world guy who just makes music, and then on those beats, he sounds like he's just dancing and gliding, you know? Like one of the lines is like gliding like there's water and some soap under my kicks. And it's really like imagine water under the feet. He's just because, and then that's even though there's no real drums on that song, like because of what I'm trying to explain, I dance every time I do that part of the song. It's just because the lyrics more than it's because of the beat, you know?
So for your typical live performance, like, are people dancing the whole time, or are there tracks where it kind of switches up and, the dance floor isn't necessarily moving so much?
Oh, bro, it's been a while since I did like, well, when I did my real show, because I've been doing showcases so much,
Okay.
like so much. And showcases is just nobody knows who you are. So
Yeah.
every time you go on like showcases and like open mics, nobody knows. So then I go on stage and I start to dance or whatever, and they're just watching. They're just like, oh, look at me, I'm discovering.
Yeah.
But when I did like my actual show, like with my tickets and everything, yeah, people were dancing the entire show. It was
Nice.
something that
Yeah.
was cool to
That
see.
makes sense, man. I mean, all your music has that vibe to it, and kind of has like it's very two-steppable,
Yeah,
Dude, I wanted to ask you about you're one of the few people, the few MC I've talked to 130 different people. This is episode 130. So
shit.
you're one of the few guys I've talked to though who I know what like you do for a day job. Because you post about that shit on your social media. Whereas like I think a lot of MCs wanna I don't know if it's that they want to have this image where like, oh, I make my money off music, and that probably is part of what goes to people thinking that like every musician is some sort of superstar or whatever. But like I guess do you think kind of more artists should be open about like their day-to-day work life and bring that kind of side of reality to their persona?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think because as human beings, we want to have like a job that we can mention at like a Christmas party, you know? Christmas party, like the old uncle is gonna ask you, so what's up with you? What do you do?
Right.
And like, everybody just needs to pay their bills, you know, but you just want to be able to say something that you kind of fuck with, you know? Even if it's not like for sure if you have your dream of music, you saying that you're a full-time artist at the dinner table is probably harder to deal with than to say that you work like I don't know, as a receptionist somewhere, you know? But that's why I learned like a career that also I cared about because I always thought about it. Like when I was like in high school, I didn't want to go to CJEP. I wanted to go to work construction. That's what I wanted to do. But then like I didn't do it. I did music instead. And I'm happy I did that because it would have been harder to start music now than it was like 16 years ago.
Sure.
So
And you don't think you could have been doing music and construction? I mean, coming from Alberta, that's kind of like the mode most people are in. I feel like you get out of high school and then you go pick up a shovel and use that to fucking do the music or do your passion on the side, you know?
yeah, you know what? The way I was when I was younger, I would have quit. Know myself, yo. I didn't care. Like when I was younger, I music was so important to me. So I rather than having jobs that I could just go and leave. Like I when I was 20, I think I started to work at like FedEx or some shit. Fuck, I hated that job. I
Yeah.
hated it
That's way too
so
corporate,
much.
man.
Bro,
Musicians don't do well in corporate structures like that.
but at FedEx? Well, FedEx is it's corporate. Yeah, it is, man.
Oh, it's super
Fuck.
corporate. And they're like fucking, I don't know, at least like I'm thinking like package delivery guys, they've got like super schedules they've got to fucking stay on, or, they're going to get some boss hating on them. And yeah, man, that type of shit doesn't
The
fly
admin, the
well with
warehouse.
most artists I know anyway.
Oh, it sucked. Like
Yeah.
I was in the warehouse. I was just filling up trucks, like
Okay.
trucks that would go in different places in Canada. I was just in the warehouse, just doing that scanning and loading trucks, and that was probably the worst job I've had in my life. But I did it for a while. Yo, I was using entire paychecks. I remember like I didn't come in on a Friday, and my paycheck was coming on Friday, and the entire paycheck came in, and I was playing the guy at the studio with it at that exact moment. So
Damn. So
yeah,
how the hell were you paying bills? I mean, not to get too much into your pocket, but have you been heavy on grants throughout your career, or like I feel like most independent musicians also have to do the blue collar thing or do some side job anyway.
oh no, I had many jobs.
Okay.
Like yeah, since I had so many jobs. Honestly, I think I have a picture on my phone of all the name tags I found because I keep them, and I think I want to motivate myself, and that's probably why I do that. And I've been always
Never
on that.
again name tags.
Bro, look at this. Oh, wow, it's blurry. Hold on. Anyways, you can see Target.
Target, yeah,
Wait,
Target.
let me see. How can I fix
Couple
that?
others behind it. Why did it just focus on Target? That's fucked up.
That's weird, huh?
Yeah. Apparently we're sponsored by Target today.
But yeah, anyway, it's like it's Wendy's, Target, FedEx, Canadian Tire.
Yeah, okay. So same deal as everybody that I know. We're going from job to job trying to make the music thing happen.
Yeah,
Um,
and I went to school for audio engineering, so then I had a job at a radio station. That was my last one before I did the blue collar stuff.
nice. Okay. So you're actually like trained audio engineer. You mix and master your own stuff then, or?
I mix a lot of but now my ears become so developed that like I'll do I can listen to it in the car or whatever, but then it's gonna be if it's gonna be put out like the album, I find it sounds really good because my cousin has his own studio and he also did the same class, and he's an excellent like mixing engineer.
Okay. Nice.
So since yes, I'm not full time. I could, but bro, I'm not down to just I'll be out here AQing for hours. Like,
Yeah. Easier to let somebody else do it and tell you when it's done than try to decide when it's done yourself. Um,
yeah,
so dude, let's talk about this whole like you're bilingual. Most artists I've talked to aren't bilingual. I did interview Slick Jack and Vincent Price, Montreal based guys a while back, and they both told me that they are bilingual, but Jack said that he would never rap in French. Um, for whatever reason. I'll leave that to him. But I wanted to ask you about it because it's rare. But like, do you feel like it's like a setback or a bonus to be bilingual as a musician in Montreal?
I think it's good. I think it helps. I think
Yep.
it's like yeah, like because there's different stories and culture behind both. So I think there's like a lot of good coming from it because like Anglophone culture and speak rapping and making music in English is what led me to be able to just go out west, go to London, places
Yeah.
like that. It was like it's wild. And rapping in French is like the reason why I can go to like Quebec City and Bay Saint Paul and all those places out like or up north or in Abitibi, Témiscamingue, some of these places in Quebec. So I think you should take advantage of both. It just depends on what I'm trying to say. Is why I rap in one of the either languages. It's just
Okay.
because language is also culture. So like sometimes when you say certain things in a certain language, it makes more sense in that language than in another one.
Yeah. Like thank you when you go home at the end of the day. Probably. Yeah.
I feel like thank you is probably the one universal thing you could say, but I find I don't know. I don't know if thank you or merci is more like popular. Maybe I should make an album called Thank You, but
So when you come out west to do shows, like, are you performing exclusively in English and you just don't do songs where you do rap in French, or and vice versa? Like when you're out in Quebec doing shows, are you doing a set made of entirely French songs?
no, I definitely don't do Le Game a changé that much out west. Now that you mention it, but I
Okay.
do songs where like there's one or two lines in in French. People like the English French random lines.
Yeah.
They really like when I do that and they're like, oh my god, it's in French. Oh my god, it's in English. They out west they care because I feel like out west they listen to the lyrics. While when you rap in English in Quebec, people don't listen to the lyrics at all.
Is it easier as someone from Quebec who speaks French to like link up with producers and other rappers from France? Because I know like France has a dope hip hop scene, and you kind of mentioned that I forget the name of the label, but that they had links out there. Have you ever made any links like out in France actually?
Yeah, a lot, but I don't think it's because of my music being in French. It's because my like ability to speak French.
Right.
Because I speak French, they link up with me, but they enjoy the English music because they love this American stuff because it's like super foreign for them. Like it is like the other side of the ocean for them. So like they find that like all this English stuff we do is like super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's like a big kind of faction of people who like I don't know, see New York as the Mecca, even though they're in Europe, and they kind of give extra gravity to North American hip hop based off of just like the the closeness to the whole New York scene and just the American scene in general or whatever, but it probably crosses over into the Canadian scene as well. Um,
Yeah, true. Yeah. That's why I think that's why they end up a lot of French people are in Montreal and because they want that like they live this New York life. You should see them, bro, in Montreal. They really are like, oh my God, oh, we in New York. Like, they're funny.
uh, do you think like the music sounds like New York music in Montreal, or like what aspects of the New York culture do they latch onto?
The boots, bro. Like the streets,
I was gonna
like
guess
it's
hoodies and boots, and then I was like, am I gonna sound like an old head for even saying hoodies and boots about New York still? Like, do people even do that in New York anymore?
probably Tim's out there, but I don't know if you. I found like as a guy who I do have a pair of Tim's, but they're not like the Tim's. They're like they're not Butters. Like they're like Timberlands makes other boots than
Yeah,
these. Boots.
yeah. Then the
So,
Tims, yeah.
yeah. So it's
Um,
another type. I do have Tim's, but not like the typical Tim's.
I, th-
But yeah, I think it's the boots and the Tim's and the hoodies that really has them.
I think those boots are clear across Canada, though. That just makes sense with our winters up here. You know, you can only do fucking Jordans for so long into the winter before you got to start worrying about what you're stepping in.
Yeah, like that's the thing for us. It's normal because we like. I just did a thing with like Radio Canada is like the French version of CBC, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was saying like, yo, they want to wear boots like us. They want to wear these puffer jackets that we wear. It's just for them, it doesn't make sense. That's not cold enough. But
Yeah.
us is an everyday. Like you know, a guy who has North Face and Tims, and he's not a rapper. He's just
No,
he's
that's just what regular people are wearing for sure.
yeah. And they find that cool.
Yeah. Dude, I wondered had either side of the language equation ever given you shit or kind of heckled you for which language you choose while you're making music? Like, do you ever hear people who speak French giving you shit for making most of your music in English or vice versa?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like, but not mostly in French. But it's just because the Quebec culture with the French language. It's just because they want to keep their culture and they don't want to be too Americanized.
Well, there's like a bill out there too that's like supposed to keep French as like the main language and shit. I'm sure that goes into like who gets grants and stuff. Is it tougher to get grants? Like when you write up a grant application, are you like, and I'm gonna rap in French a little bit?
I mean, yeah, I thought about that before, but bro, it failed
Uh,
miserably. Like I tried to get a grant by like making an album in French, the whole shit, didn't get it.
hmm.
Then I tried to like go through those francophone associations to get it. Then I failed again. I tried to like uh I like to make an album in French. Oh shit. Those guys tripping. Hold on. Yeah, my bad.
Oh, all good, man. Um, so something else that I wanted to ask you about, man, is it easier to rap in either of the two languages for you? Like how bilingual are you? You're completely fluent in both languages?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
I think I can rap in both.
Okay.
Like
So
like
my follow up kind of to fill this question out a little bit more is that like, you know, you always hear like, oh, French is such a like romantic language. It's so poetic or all this. Like, do you think it's easier to rap in French or in English? And is it because of the actual language's structure, or is it just because you're more comfortable in that language?
sorry, can you repeat that? My bad. This fucking phone. Fuck this phone.
So, you know, you hear like how French is like a poetic language, or like, you know, Italian is such a poetic language and these things. But I don't speak French, so I don't really know. I hear guys rapping French. I don't know what's being said. But for somebody who's bilingual like you, do you find it's easier to rap in one or the other? Like actually easier to write bars in either French or English? And do you think that it's easier because you're just more comfortable, you're more fluent personally in that language, or is it actual something structurally like about English or about French that makes it easier to rap in?
It depends what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's like always like the context of the song for real, I find. Like some songs, if I'm trying to like talk about, I guess like overcoming adversity and like success, like I find like English makes more sense because it's like some words like in English make more sense that they got more power. Like, you know, when you say success, power, these kind of words, like money, power, respect. Remember seeing that on t-shirts, like, you know,
Yeah.
it hits more in English, but like it's just a cultural thing, you know. While as in French, like some things are more, is it the I guess it's cultural of like, I don't know, it's ancient cultural shit, you know, like I don't know how to explain it because like for example, like in French, like uh they would say like it's more noble, but it's not necessarily true. But some things can sound like that depending on, since you're talking to the world who or world that might not speak French, like hearing certain words would make more sense like that for them for when they hear it. But when you trying to like talk to an entire audience, like let's say I'm trying to talk to Western Canada or just like the rest of Canada, because I'm not just talking about Quebec,
Of
I'm
course.
talking to the
Yeah.
entire world.
Yeah.
It makes more sense for me to speak it in English.
Yeah. That
Depending
makes
on
sense,
if
man.
I'm speaking a Montreal French too, I'm talking to the homies. You know, I'm just talking to the close people who know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So
Yeah, no, that's a tough question, man. A good answer for it. I, haven't asked anybody else anything quite that intellectual, really, to like analyze the structure of both French and English for me. But I appreciate you taking a crack at it, man. Um, do you feel like there's a Montreal sound, and do you represent that sound, or do you stand apart from the Montreal sound?
nah, I have a Montreal sound too. I think there is one. It's made by like, you know, it's like branches, you know, and I think I'm one of the originators of one of the branches because I wasn't around, like I, you know, K Tronada has made some songs with the homies, some friends of mine, but I didn't have any link to K Tronada because we're not from the same part of the city. We didn't go to any high school. We don't like, we might know people in common, but now because he's so popular, everybody knows him.
Right.
But like like where he was around, like this, he's from the South Shore. I was never out there, so but I do have friends who worked with him and stuff like that. But I don't. My music doesn't sound like his. But you know, we have branches that everybody creates. I think the Montreal sound is still being created because you know, if hip hop was invented in like what 40 years ago,
I think that, well,
like
there was the Hip Hop 50 a couple years ago. They had the 50th anniversary celebrations, all over the place. I forget
oh,
what
it's
year that
true.
was,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2023 or something, 2022. But yeah, so it depends who's counting when it started or whatever. But
Right.
yeah,
But it's still like, you know, since hip hop is like fairly new, sometimes like a city doesn't have their own sound the same way, like, you know, there's a New York sound because that's what was the only sound of hip hop at a certain point, you know?
yeah. Well, and the internet changed everything too to make it less regional. Now everything kind of merges together quicker and, doesn't necessarily have as regional of a sound. Other than like accents and stuff a lot of the time. But you've got guys in New York trying to sound like they're from Atlanta, and kind of a merger of a bunch of different sounds happens real quick with the current culture. How about this, man? This is something I ask a lot of different artists, just to kind of get a gauge. But do you find more fulfillment from writing and recording the art, or from performing it on stage?
Um, hmm, writing and recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I get to listen to it when I'm chilling, doing nothing, you know? That feels really good. That helps out, man. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think a lot of people who aren't, caking off from the music just yet are doing it for those therapeutic reasons. That's what I've learned talking to all these different artists is, a lot of guys just say that music is the crutch. It's something to lean on. And yeah, I think that checks out. Um, so how about for production, man? This is something I've been asking producers. I know that there are some guys who will defend using AI to make things to sample. Do you feel like AI has any place in production for hip hop?
Um, Yo, I think that's where if that's where the if that's where technology is at, it is what it is, huh? As an independent artist, like it's not like I benefited from like the music industry. It's not like not in a sense like as like I'm a victim of it, but I'm just saying like it's not like it's not like the I guess the artists in the early 2000s used to get like insane record deals and just do nothing. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's not like I lived that. Since I didn't live that, then it's not like those art the same artists that got really mad when like Napster became a thing.
right.
I'm not one of those artists. So like I don't mind, compared to like if Napster was invented tomorrow, I wouldn't mind. It's not like I made mad bread off like selling CDs and you're taking this money away from me. Like
Yeah,
it's not see, that's why I'm like, yo, if the AI is what's going on, and bro, shit, I don't know. People will listen to what they want to listen to. Like everybody's already like freaking hacked Spotify to get more streams at this point. So then what are
yeah,
we really what are we mad about? We already messed up the industry.
yeah, yeah. That's true right there, man. Well, and I like what you said about just like, it's not like people are making too much money off this anyways. How mad can you really be at streaming, or be at, whatever, whatever industry practice you want to be mad at? If there's no money coming out in the first place, so be it.
Yeah, like we need to be we're mad at the wrong thing. And maybe and we can't even be mad, because that's the way the internet works. Now because the internet is not like this niche thing.
Yeah.
It's like a super common thing. Some people make their living off the internet. So
It's in everybody's pocket everywhere.
yeah.
I guess since I just mentioned it, how do you feel about streaming? Do you weigh in on that whole like should we use Spotify, shouldn't we use Spotify debate?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, it's just you're just trying to get the music to the consumer. Then like if you stay at the crib and look at the numbers and the stats all day trying to like find this like weird like I guess bandwidth to like s- pull people in to listen to you, as a part of the game. I'm not necessarily a fan of doing that. I'm not a fan of like studying the consumer's behavior to sell them
Yeah,
shit.
having a target audience and all this shit. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, type shit. I'm not a fan of doing that, but it's just that's a part of the marketing that like makes the money.
yeah,
So it's just that's what I find Spotify to be. Spotify is one of the criterias when you're like trying to target an audience. Okay, do they use Spotify? Do they use Apple Music or YouTube? All this kind of stuff. So I think it's just that. It's just
yeah.
like a tool to try to get people to listen to you.
I really wish we could convince people to buy music again. That's to me like streaming is great, but it's sad that people think that they're supporting an artist just by streaming them. And especially with indie artists. Like if you're just going to stream Taylor Swift, she's not going to miss it. She's got enough money or whatever. But like for indie artists, if people aren't actually reaching into their pocket at some point to support beyond just the streaming, um, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to pay the bills as indie artists across the country, and keep food on your family's table and all that stuff. And so you get people who take the 40 hours a week and set the music on the back burner and then eventually just like drift away from it or whatever, right? It's a constant struggle to try to work that work life balance to a point where you can do both music and pay the bills. Um, yeah, I think a lot of artists struggle with that one though, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
Dude, there's
I mean,
a section here. I just opened the door for artists. I don't know how political different artists want to be, but I just have been asking everybody I've talked to for the last 2 months this question. Anything to say about what's currently going on with America right now? And as a follow up to that, would you do a show in America right now?
I think there's so much stuff happening in America. Is kind like it's wild, but there were signs.
Oh
But
yeah,
like I was like everybody else. First of all, I did not think Trump was gonna get elected the first time. First time I was like, they're tripping. He's probably not gonna even try to go for president. And he really did. I was like, oh man, he's gonna go for president. And then I was like, bro, he's probably not gonna get elected. Then he got elected, and then it kind of gave me a reality check of realizing that like the United States is not only New York and LA, like it's not only New
yeah,
York and California. There's like Iowa,
lot of
Ohio,
rural people out there still get votes.
North
Yeah.
Dakota.
Yeah. 100%, man.
Yeah,
And yeah, I agree completely, man. I don't think his own camp thought that he was actually going to find success in that. I think it was kind of more of a publicity stunt to boost his celebrity status or whatever. And then they were like, oh shit, we're actually going to win this fucking thing. And yeah, been flying by the seat of their pants since then. But um, I agree with you, what you said about like, artists are, or sorry, about how people could have seen this coming. Right.
mm,
About there were a lot of people screaming
yeah, there
from
were
the
signs.
rooftops, don't let this guy in. It's going to be bad. And yeah,
Yeah,
now,
there were
now here we
signs.
are.
We ignored them.
Yeah.
But
100%, man.
I think maybe I would do a show in the United States. I've never done a show in the United States, honestly. So,
Okay.
if there's this whole, if there's like, I don't know, hopefully there's no war happening, knock on wood. But
Yeah.
if that happens, I don't think I would go out there to do that. I don't think, because I do know that like in times of need, people need artists, but then everybody goes to New York and LA to try to become a star. And I feel like there's already people who grew up there who love music just as much as me and who want to be like recognized in their own city. And I think there's definitely enough artists, and it's not like they need me out there.
Hmm.
So
I mean, yeah, that's true. I'm kind of surprised you haven't done shows in America ever. Because like, Montreal is close enough. You could drive a few hours and get down to some major markets there, or whatever, right? But yeah, with where we're at currently, it's a question of like, you know, is ICE gonna fuck with you or whatever, right? Like, will the border fucking arrest you for coming across with bad words about Trump on your cell phone or what? Like you hear these horror stories of people who are just getting locked up for no real reason. There was one guy from Edmonton who's been in ICE custody for like 4 months at this point, and like he's some oil dude who was working in Texas, and I mean, on a human to human level, I hope he gets free and gets out or whatever. But on the other hand, I'm kind of like, well, dude, like you were just sitting on your pile of privilege, assuming that you, the rich white oil guy, was going to be fine living in Texas. But like, yeah, that's not always the way that's going to go for people. So yeah, that definitely a lot of different opinions on whether people would go to America right now.
yeah,
Personally, I'm sitting that one out.
yeah, definitely. Me too. For
Yeah.
for a little while now.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been a lot. I've been maybe once in the past like 4 years. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's not like my number one like destination for now.
Yeah, for real. All right, man. So I do a quick segment where I kind of rapid fire some questions about how important is this or how important is that. Do you got another 10 or 15?
Yeah, for sure.
Hang out. All right. So let's go with this one. How important is physical location for an artist?
A lot. It's like probably more important than anything else. Like you just need to be in a good city where like people care, or like somewhere away from your hometown. Because you could be from any popular place in the world, but people don't really care until like someone else cares. And I
Yeah.
saw like a post of Eminem saying that. If Eminem said like people don't care until you're famous, like
Yeah. That's a big cliche. I hear that one a lot on this show that, until America accepts you, your own country isn't going to accept you kind of thing.
yeah, people don't really care. They don't feel like it's really working because they can see you. They're like, oh, you were down the street. I could have went there if I wanted to. But
Yeah.
then when you perform more places, and a lot of people ask me after a show I did that was like fairly successful, they're like, yo, when's your next show? I was like, bro, not now. So good luck.
Yeah.
May see you at the next one, maybe. Like,
Yeah. That's like when you put an album out, people are asking when's the next one coming. Right after you performed it or dropped it or whatever. It's, oh, when's the next one? I feel bad asking people that question. But then the thing is, there are guys who drop like 5 fucking albums a year. So sometimes it makes sense for me to be like, okay, so one just came out 2 weeks ago. Like when's the next one, Sazy or
hmm.
whatever, like some of these guys don't stop dropping. But
What's heartbreaking is when people ask you, when did you like, are you dropping something soon? And you just drop something and you're like, well, I mean, I just dropped an album and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
But I
For
feel
sure.
like sometimes people just ask you to make conversation. It's usually non-artists that ask you that, or artists that don't. I don't know. It's rare that someone that really cares asks you that
That
type of shit.
that's a good point. That it is a non-artist question to ask to an artist is when's the next thing or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
What are you working on now? Kind of deal. Um, okay. How important is social media presence, and does the language that you post in make a difference?
I think social media presence is important. I think you need to like show because there's more chance of someone seeing your post than seeing you, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's important. And depends who you're talking to. Really, like if you're speaking, like I made a post at some point that was like fully in Portuguese, and it's because I was in Brazil and I was making that post. Like it was a post talking about like the difference between Rio and Sao Paulo. So then like I'm not talking to someone from Montreal or someone in Canada. We don't even know.
Yeah.
But, so it made more sense to have that post in Portuguese.
So, but obviously, you're looking for listeners and to build a fan base that's international and all across Canada, and isn't all just francophones. So, when you're posting stuff in French, does it feel like maybe it's limiting the reach of those posts?
But it depends. Like if it's like some like the most recent post, like it's in Bay Saint Paul. Bro, I swear, like some people don't even know where Montreal is. Bay Saint Paul is 4 hours east. Like it's like really in the mountains. It's like a Quebec shit. But Quebec is also it's still the second biggest province
Yeah.
in Canada. So because of that, it makes sense for those people because it's like it's a francophone town for sure. I'm not sure. The only people speaking English there are like because it's a Club Med, so it's like tourists. So for
Okay.
that, it makes sense.
Sure.
Even Quebec City, it makes sense. For that, it makes sense.
Okay.
But
So, like, if it's a show promo for a show you've got coming up in a French speaking city, makes sense to do it in French. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. Um, how about this, man? How important is representing your scene compared to reaching audiences beyond it?
Hmm. Shit, like, hold on, repeat that. How important?
How
Like, which one is
important?
more?
Yeah, which one's more important, representing your scene or reaching audiences outside of it?
Shit, I think one leads to the other, right? If you rep your scene for a while, pay your dues in the city, and like, cause maybe it's a Canadian thing, bro. Cause I feel like any city in Canada that I've been in and I made music in, there's like some guys who've been around for years who almost got to approve you to be like,
Right.
okay, you're moving to the next level, right? Because you come through, you gotta shake hand, kiss babies, and be accepted. It definitely happened to me in Calgary and definitely happened in Vancouver, where you have to like almost like bow down to the greatness of that city before they allow you
Sure.
to.
Okay. Like to get on shows in Calgary, who I don't know. Do you feel like saying who you had to shake hands with to get on shows in Calgary? I can only think of a handful of. To me, as an Edmonton guy, I always looked at Calgary's scene and thought that it was subpar compared to Edmonton's. Personally, I
Oh,
would.
for real?
Oh yeah, Edmonton's got MCs galore, man. But Calgary, I can name five. There's a few guys in Calgary who like have been around doing the thing, but I don't know, more and more so every year. I find new artists in Calgary who I can vibe with or whatever. But no, man, for all the years I was living in Edmonton, there was like one or two groups in Calgary that anybody could name, and meanwhile Edmonton has like, dude, like I can genuinely list off 20 or 30 MCs who I feel like have kind of mastered the craft that they're doing up in Edmonton. Like, yeah, I make the argument that Edmonton has maybe the most slept on scene in Canada.
Okay, shit. I've only been to the studio in Edmonton. I haven't worked that much with rappers
Okay.
out there. But I think it mostly was when I did sled, I find in Calgary. When I did
Okay.
Sled Island is when but no, that's how I got on shows. But the only show I got on in Calgary that wasn't Sled Island was self-organized by someone who isn't in sled. So
Okay. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
to get on bigger festivals like Sled Island, there's definitely some handshakes need to be made, I feel like, or at least like, the right application has to be handed in or whatever. But uh yeah, I feel like the both of the cities in Alberta have kind of a more grassroots vibe where a lot of the shows are going to be, like you said, shows that are just organized and put on by some local guy who wants to put on a show, so he reaches out to a few other people and puts it on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Because
Um, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, well, here I'll just keep rolling along with these how important questions for you, man. You talk a lot about love and heartbreak and all this in your music. How important is having the right romantic partner?
oh, shit, definitely important. Think that helps, and you make better music when you're in love.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I
yeah,
see. I don't think every artist. Well, in fact, I know a lot of artists have told me different on that one. These how important questions I asked to a lot of different guys, just trying to develop like consensus of some sort. But it's funny because there is no consensus. Everybody has their own answers for all this. There's no right answers at all. Um, but yeah, man, a lot of guys are like, it doesn't fucking matter, or like some guys make better music when they're single because they feel the need to be more impressive, I think, than when they've got somebody waiting for them at home who might congratulate them one way or the other, I guess. But yeah,
I think, yo, for real. I think the heartbreak music shit. I don't know. You feel like shit, so you make shit music. Well, not shit music, but you don't make the best shit. I find when you're sad, you think you're making just because you just have an outlet and you just keep making songs. But I don't know how good they necessarily are. Years later, you might feel cringe about them.
yeah. I mean, for the audience, I think, heartbreak music has a time and a place, right? You only want to listen to it if you're heartbroken yourself. But, when that's the situation, it goes a long ways to know, "Oh, I'm not alone in this," or whatever. Hear other people who are going through it too. Um, Dude, how about how important? Let's do this. How important is getting a grant for a Canadian artist?
Um, Not that important. Honestly, if you get a job, it's probably even more reliable
Yeah,
than a grant because you could just finance your shit all the time.
yeah.
It definitely like when I was doing grants and getting a lot, and a lot was still like I was still living under the fucking poverty line with getting 2 3 grants a year. But
This is the other thing with grants. People think, oh, this guy's getting grants. He must be like living high on the hog or whatever. And it's like, really, the grants don't want you to even pocket any of that money. They want to know what you've spent every last fucking penny on, and you're not really supposed to be like walking away with money in your pocket or fucking, like paying yourself even really. You're supposed to be paying to make the product, make the art, and that's what you're supposed to walk away with. By my understanding, anyways. I've never got grants, but that's what other people have told me, and grant writing seminars have told me that shit, anyways.
and you got to pay tax on it. I owe $2,000 to go back for a grant
Yeah.
of tax.
God
Tax.
damn. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's no good. How about here? I want to do two more of these how important questions. How important is competition in hip hop?
Not at all, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those rappers. I'm like, you guys need to chill.
I respect that. I like that a lot. You are one of the first guys who's told me that. I feel like so many MCs have this idea that like everybody has to be a battle hardened, like cutthroat MC who wants to outdo everybody else. And I'm kind of just like, I get it that that's like hip hop tradition, guys, but like it's kind of counterproductive too, isn't it? Like, I don't know. I don't want to say it too loudly most of the time, but that's how I feel, really.
Yeah, I think it's stupid.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, dude. Um, how about okay, last one of these. How important is making music that women like?
Huh.
You know?
It's pretty important, but you won't be able to gauge. Like as a dude, I can't tell you what. Oh, the girls are gonna like this. I
Right.
never know.
Yeah.
I never fucking know because sometimes like some girls like the most raunchy shit. Like some girls like songs that they feel like you're talking to them. You never really know what is the song gonna be, but I think it's important to make songs that girls like for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, man. I think a lot of MCs go into it, not worried at all about trying to make anything the women like and kind of do themselves a disservice in having that mentality. Because yeah, that's half the population, that's half the market.
Yeah, definitely. You can't just make stuff for the homies all the time.
Yeah, 100%, man. Okay, so appreciate your time and that you stayed a little bit extra here with me. Before I let anybody out of here, I always ask, can you describe your local hip hop scene?
Oh shit. Poutine. Cheese, fries, sauce.
Okay. All right. All right. That's an
Yeah.
abstract answer, but I'll take it.
Hey, man, it's mixed up.
I like that, man. Okay. Anybody you want to give shout outs to? Especially, I wanted to ask you specifically, are there who are the best francophone rappers? Who are the best guys who are rapping in French in Montreal? On my show, After the Smoke is Clear, I have guys who, like, you know, message me being like, "Oh, you play all Canadian music, you should play more francophones." And I'm like, you know, I can tell, like, when a guy can flow in French, but I don't know what the fuck anybody's saying. So, like, it's tough for me to judge French MCs the same way that I'm going to judge an English MC, you know, because, like, I'm about bars. I'm a lyricist myself, so, like, I am trying to listen for, like, lyrical dexterity and things like this, and, like, I don't know who's actually dope in French. I play a lot of music by this dude, Cien Secure. Does that
Oh, ça
name
s'écrit.
ring a bell? Yeah, yeah. You could
Yeah.
probably say his name better than I can. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
Obia le Chef is definitely the best one.
okay. Nice.
Obia, he has songs for Saint Sucré, I think, too.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out, man. Anybody else from the scene you want to give shouts to? It's all about just spreading love and, you know, sharing the spotlight and shit on this show. So I always
Oh,
ask.
for sure. Always sending love and spreading love with Planet Giza. Probably the best musicians, artists, rappers, singers out here. Malia Laura, amazing singer. This Fraud Perry, amazing rapper. Um, also Rita Yemeli, amazing singer. And yeah, for now, that's so
Yes.
all of Hardbody Jones as well. Shout out my homie Hardbody Jones.
Okay, dope. I might hit you afterwards to check on the spelling of a few of those so that I can actually hit follow on these artists or whatever. But the other thing I've been asking people before I let them leave, name a Canadian artist who you'd like to collaborate with that you haven't. Let's breathe it into reality.
I say Nelly Furtado.
Yeah,
Be
okay.
down.
Yeah, that would be dope. All right. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. Anything that we can plug for people to look out for, shows or, you know, upcoming anything?
Got a show coming through at École du Skate. It's like a skate into it's a DIY indoor skate park that the homies made,
Dope.
and gonna be in Europe soon. And that's it. And listen to Merci, you know,
Yeah.
everywhere.
Hell yeah. Okay, where can people find you on social media?
Maky Lavender, Maky Lavender on pretty much anything.
Right on. All right, dude. Appreciate you spending the time to do this. It was fun.
All good, bro. Thank you, man.
Hell yes. Catch you next time, dude. Peace.
All right, later.
All right, everybody. Like he said, go check out Merci. Good album. I listened through a couple times earlier today, just kind of prepping for this. Lots of, like we said, live instrumentation sounds on there, even though it apparently wasn't live instrumentation. It sounds like it was. You know, I think it would be dope to see that played by a live band with him at live shows. Definitely go check him out live if you can. And, you know, just keep supporting Canadian independent hip hop. Keep coming back for After the Smoke is Clear mixes. That's my mix show, 100% Canadian content every week, always new release, never playing anything twice. You can find that at mixcloud.com/Doobyis. Doobyis.com is the hub for everything I do. You can find all these interviews over on youtube.com/Doobyis. You know, lots of upcoming interviews. Next week, I am talking with K-Stone, who just recently relocated to Montreal. So that'll be interesting. Two guys from Montreal back to back, but one is brand new out there and one is, you know, long time what do they call it? Montrealer? I doubt, but Montrealian? I don't know what somebody from Montreal called. Anyways, K-Stone, March 10th, I talked to him. March 17th, I'm catching up with Sazy. I think it'll be his 4th time on the show. March 24th, it's D.O.V and DJ Chino 420 of a group called Treez out of Toronto. March 31st, I talk with the Sixth Letter from the Bakers Club. April 7th, I'm talking with Tariq, Edmonton-based MC. April 14th, down to Calgary, talking to Seraphin. April 21st, talking to Len Bowen. April 28th, I talked to Ezza of Choom Gang. Len Bowen is from Winnipeg, and Ezza is out in Niagara Falls, just like Sazy. Yeah, I'll keep coming back for these interviews every Tuesday until the end of June. And then I take July and August off and come back for the weekly interviews again, starting up in September through till the end of November. So lots more coming up for Flying Formation Season 4. Appreciate people for coming through, hanging out, saying what's up in chat. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.